When I first started this channel, I did an intro video where I said that this channel was going to be about things that made us proud to be Americans. But I also did mention that as a native Kansan, having also lived for quite a few years in Texas, having also lived for quite a few years in Montana and being a graduate of the University of Montana, that there may be some bias toward things that make us proud to be Kansans or Montanans or Texans. Well, I've been, as you know, I watch quite a few YouTube videos, and I've seen quite a number here of late, not by some of my favorite travel people necessarily, but by travel commentators, or reactors, or whatever you want to call them, who seem to have the idea that Kansas is flat and empty. Well, now, I was talking to somebody at one point, not a YouTuber, but a person who had driven through Kansas east to west and was talking about how flat Kansas was. And I said, "Did you sleep through the Flint Hills?" Because from, a little west of Topeka to darn near Salina, that's quite hilly, and it's mostly made up of, you guessed it, flint. It's the main reason it's called the Flint Hills. And they do roll away, nowhere near flat. But in northwest Kansas, there's also the Kansas Badlands. Now today, unfortunately, my thing to download videos from YouTube and edit them into my videos doesn't seem to want to work. Otherwise, I would have made this a video with the 3 videos that are linked in the description as part of it. But the reason I chose these 3 videos, you can go to all 3 things in one day. No problem. The Monument Rocks and Castle Rock are both less than an hour's drive from Oakley. I'm kind of fond of Oakley anyway. My son was born there for one thing. But it's also just a very friendly town. I've had a lot of good times there, known a lot of good people. And now in Monument Rocks and Castle Rock, there have been a lot of fossils taken out of there. Now, they're both on private property, but the owners do allow you to go out there and visit them. Just don't climb on them or, try to take souvenirs from them or whatever. And I will tell you, it being western Kansas, especially if you're out there in the summer, pay attention, because we do have rattlesnakes in this part of the country. Now, if you get bit by a rattlesnake, it doesn't matter. I mean, you've got hospital as well from Castle Rock in Quinter or Oakley, from Monument Rocks in Scott City or Oakley. And they would all have the anti-venom for rattlesnake bites, since we do have them in the area. But Better to not be bit if you can help it. But these, I was talking about the fossils that have been pulled out of there and out of other places in western Kansas. The Monument Rocks, Castle Rock, those were all formed under an inland sea that used to cover most of western Kansas. And this was millions of years ago. So a lot of those fossils were fish, marine life of various kinds. And you can see those fossils also in Oakley, the Fick Fossil Museum. So I have a little video from the Fick Fossil Museum there now. If you're in this part of the country, yes, it's a bit more of a drive if you're in the Oakley area, which is probably a couple hours from where I live anyway. But it's a bit more of a drive. But if you're already out in this area anyway, go to Hays and visit the Sternberg Museum. It's a natural history museum, and it is amazing. I didn't include a video of it because I'm trying to keep this down to this one little day trip around Oakley. And you can see the Monument Rocks, Castle Rock, and the Fick Fossil Museum all in a day without putting yourself out too awful much. Oakley also has the Buffalo Bill Center. You may be able to fit that in, depending on how long you spend looking at the fossils. But this will show you very clearly that Kansas is not just completely flat, and that our natural history is downright amazing. And it's just kind of a neat thing to do, and kind of fun, and doesn't cost a ton. So if you're vacationing on the cheap, Kansas is a good place for that.